A lot of our goals as content creators often center around growth, and it's pretty easy to see why. In general, having more followers means more notoriety, more opportunities, and often more money. But is rushing to get to whatever follower milestone you're chasing worth it? Today, I want to make a case for slow and steady growth as a content creator. In a world where going viral is pitched as the be-all, end-all way to grow a following online, I think there is so much to be said for content creators who have put in the work and shown up over several years, like myself, as you guys know, and that there's true benefit to playing the long game as a content creator. If you have also been growing slowly or you're currently discouraged with your growth as an influencer, this video is for you. Let's start out with what I think most people probably don't understand about viral content, which is that going viral is really not all that it's made out to be. I have gone viral a few times as a micro-influencer, and every time I do, I always get that initial burst of excitement when I see my video hit 100,000 views or 500,000 views, or even sometimes a million or more. But really, the end result of what happens after that viral piece of content has died down a few weeks later hasn't really changed much for me as a content creator. There are definitely times where I do see new followers come through after a viral piece of content is shared, but I always think it's more interesting to look at less of the immediate aftermath of a piece of content going viral and more about who is still with you like 3 or 6 months later. If a piece of content goes viral only for you to gain and then lose a bunch of followers, you're kind of starting back from square one. Not to mention, when a piece of content goes viral, it's usually going viral for a reason, and there are bound to be saves of that content, shares of that content, and of course, an influx of comments from people who likely don't know you that well at all. The comments section of a viral video is an interesting place to be. I'm sure that some of you have been there from time to time yourselves. And I think that the first thing I want to say about the comments of a viral piece of content is that if it's a short form piece of viral content especially, there's no way that someone has enough time to really know you. There's often not enough room for nuance in a viral piece of content. And most of these people will probably leave a comment and then never think about it again. So I don't think there's any use dwelling on especially negative comments on viral videos, since they're coming from people who don't know you and who also probably didn't give it a second thought after they left their comment. The first time I went viral, I truly felt the need to try to explain myself or defend my position in every comment, and that just got mentally exhausting, and it was impossible to keep up with. I do think there are some useful ways that you can take a viral piece of content and run with it to build your following more quickly, but that's not what this video is about, so if you want to hear my thoughts on that, check out this video that I created last year about this topic. I will link it down below if you'd like to check it out. Another reason I'm a huge fan of slow and steady growth for content creators is the chance for experimentation. When you go viral and you blow up and gain a big following overnight, it was likely from either one video or one really specific idea or piece of content. And if you want to maintain that same level of virality all the time across the board, you really need to zone in and just keep recreating that topic. And when you branch out, as you will inevitably do, because you're not just going to necessarily post the one thing for the rest of your life, you might notice your engagement and your views fluctuate from that high starting point, because what's the saying? What goes up must come down. Sometimes it can be hard to break out of becoming known for being that one particular thing, and there are so many examples of this on TikTok. The first example for me that comes to mind is the crawfish girl on TikTok. I will put a screenshot of her profile on the screen for you guys, and again, I can't necessarily, like, if I came across a makeup tutorial on my page by her, I would be like, that's the crawfish girl doing makeup? Like, why isn't she cooking? And crawfish girl should be able to create whatever type of content that she wants. But the fact that I'm calling her crawfish girl and not Madison, which is her name, should already kind of tell you a lot. Having this space to test and try different things is really integral to finding your voice and what you like to do as a content creator, because when you experiment, you can look at analytics and views, of course, to see what people were enjoying the most in terms of your content. But at the end of the day, you also want to understand what you like creating the most as a content creator. Finding that balance of what your audience likes the most and what you enjoy creating is really key. And because I have had slow and steady growth here on my YouTube channel, it's allowed me to experiment with so many different things. And if you've been following me for a long time, you know that my channel today is not what my channel was just a few short years ago. I have actually pivoted quite a lot. And yes, in the process of pivoting, that means that some people have fallen off along the way. If you were someone who was following me for my beauty product reviews, that doesn't necessarily mean you want to stick around for the life as a content creator angle. And I completely understand that. The capability to just experiment, whether that's with different topics, different formats of content, like video versus audio versus written content. It's so crazy to me that in 2024, one of the primary focuses of my business is my blog, which is how I got started all the way back in 2012. And my blog did waver in priority over the years, but now it is so important to me. It's something that I love so much. Writing was always my first love in terms of creating and storytelling. And I just think it's so cool that I can tell stories through writing and I can tell stories through video. But the fact that something like my blog can still be a key central component of my influencer business is something that, again, I've really landed on and feel strongly about now. But if you had asked me a few years ago, maybe I would have answered differently. And by the way, you guys, I've seen a lot of content creators lately, mostly on Threads, actually. Come hang out with me on Threads if you're not over there. It's the same username as everywhere. Thank you to my parents again for giving me a unique name. But I've been noticing a lot of people, specifically on Threads and sometimes in YouTube comments, talking about either wanting to launch a blog or revive their blog in 2024. So if that sounds like you, go grab my free SEO checklist. This is a relatively new resource I created for you guys, and it has a checklist of the 10 action steps you should take with your blog to make sure that you're optimized for search engines. So you can grab that free resource from the link down below in the description box. I just wanted to make sure I did not forget to mention that. The fact that I've been able to experiment on this smaller scale without the entire world watching me, so to speak, means that through all of that experimentation, I'm getting closer and closer to the type of creator I really want to be and the content that I want to create that I am most proud of. And on a similar note, another reason that I think it's amazing to have a slow and steady growth journey as a content creator is basically the freedom to fail. I just am so grateful that I've had the opportunity to fail without a million people weighing in on a failure of mine. I think about creators who have built a large following specifically in the last few years who blew up so quickly that they didn't even have a chance to fail privately or to try something that didn't work and then decide for themselves, oh, maybe I should take this down, or oh, maybe that's not what I meant to say. But instead, that realization comes when so many people are weighing in and sharing their thoughts and opinions with you at a pace that, frankly, you probably can't even keep up with. I had trouble keeping up with comments on some of my viral content, and it's nowhere near what some other creators get. I even once posted a video on my channel that was nothing terribly wrong or controversial. It was kind of just a topic that was trendy that I jumped on that I really hadn't researched that well or thought that much about. And I started to get a little anxious about it. And by the time I took it down, it only had 50 views on it. But if I were a bigger creator and I posted that video and 100,000 people had viewed it, I would have felt weird or I couldn't take it down because at that point probably so many people had seen it. And I just could have done more research on the topic is really all I can say. So I just think that having that opportunity to put out content, there's a quote called like fail early, fail often, which I do think as you're starting out in your creator journey is something to keep in mind. When you're more established, whether that means you have a bigger following or you've been doing this for a lot longer, I do sort of feel like there are higher standards expected of creators. But if you just, gained a following and you are so new to this, it's hard to think through that every little thing you post will be scrutinized and that every little thing you do people might have an opinion on. So that's why I think that if you are still growing and it feels like so slow and you're just wishing that you could grow quicker, remember that this is your time to try things, fail early, fail often, and learn from them and think about how that will inform how you move forward as a creator. Another huge benefit of growing slowly is that you actually get to know your audience and your community. I know we use the word followers a lot, but I do love the word subscribers, and I also love referring to you all who watch as either my audience, community, readers, more than followers, because there are a lot of you that I actually know and recognize just from your YouTube comments or from those of you who reply to my emails or reach out to me on other platforms to let me know that you watch and enjoy my content. And I remember pretty much all of the main people who repeatedly comment on my videos. And it means so much to me when I see comments repeatedly from people who I know are watching every single week. And it just makes me so happy. I feel like when you're being bombarded or slammed with comments 24/7, especially on short form platforms, number one, the comments are just automatically going to be shorter and there's going to be way more of them. When there are fewer comments, it means that I can actually take the time to read and respond to more of them. I just know so many content creators and influencers who barely respond to their comments now, and I know that for people who have gained a large following, it can be harder to manage, but I always see and appreciate the larger content creators who still make an effort to connect with the people who have taken the time to watch their content and who especially have taken time to leave a comment or send a DM. When you have such a close relationship with your community, you can also really listen to them, gather their feedback, and see what else they want to see from you. And you guys know I ask you all the time on the community tab and also usually throughout my videos, I mention a topic and I ask you if you want to see more of it. If you comment down below, that does in some ways influence whether or not I end up creating the video. Because if you do want to see it, then I will have more of a reason to want to create it. And if you don't want to see it, if I say, does anyone want to see a video on this process and no one answers, then I'm like, hey, fair, maybe no one's interested. Okay, guys, I think one of my neighbors might be moving. I hear a little bit of noise in the hallway, so sorry if you catch any of that, but it's actually perfect timing because we were at the last point in this video, which is that when you are growing slowly, you have so much to look forward to. I think that when everything is amazing right off the bat and you don't have to negotiate as hard with brands or you don't have to look for that next follower milestone because you kind of just hit it automatically, I don't know. I obviously want to grow and I want to build my business, but I'm someone who likes having something to work for and likes having something to achieve on my own merit and through a lot of hard work. I think there are plenty of ways that we can work smarter and not harder as content creators, and I'm not implying that we should be working 24/7, obviously to the point of burnout. You guys know that's not something that I encourage by any means, but I just think that hard work is a nice feeling, and when you work hard and you have goals and milestones in front of you, I just feel like it means there's a lot to look forward to and a lot that's still to come. Think about it like this. I mean, I wasn't driving a Bentley in high school. I drove a very nice certified pre-owned Honda CR-V, and I would get that car again, honestly, because I basically had no issues with it. But just the point being that if you have a Bentley at 17, what do you have to look forward to later on? You know what I mean? When you work hard and you actually get to see yourself level up, for me at least, the milestones mean more to me. If you guys do follow me on Instagram, I posted a reel lately talking about how I've been feeling burnt out from short form content. I got a really sweet comment from Austen, who obviously again, is part of the community. I know and recognize her handle when I see it, saying she's also on the slow growth train and she follows me because I'm genuine. I have great suggestions. I'm open about my experiences. And also I didn't buy 100,000 followers just to boost my vanity metrics. And this comment like perfectly sums up this video to me, because I completely see what she's saying, and to have people see that and recognize what I try to do as a content creator is so meaningful to me, that like even comments like this, again, are more worthy to me and mean more to me than the vanity metrics, so to speak. If you're on the slow and steady growth train with me and basically a lot of this community as well, then you know that everything you do have already is something you've really earned. And I think that's saying a lot. All right, you guys, please let me know what you thought of today's video. Leave me a comment and I will do my best to read and respond to as many of them as I can, as always. And if you do want to launch or revive your blog in 2024, don't forget to grab my free SEO checklist. I will link it down below in the description box, and it's usually in the description box of most of my videos, so go and grab your copy. And if you feel like you are experiencing a slow time right now as a content creator, I can relate, so go ahead and check out the up next recommendation on the screen about surviving a slow season of your influencer business. Thanks so much for watching, as always, and I'll see you in the next video.